I'd like to talk to you a little bit about snow goose decoys, in particular rag or sock style decoys. I've been doing this for about 12 years now, and I'm not a guide. I do it for my own pleasure. I've tried about everything on the market. I've made some observations that I'd like to share with a lot of people, that hopefully if you're going to spend the time, if you're truly interested in being successful with sock decoys, I've found some things that work better than others, and I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with the different styles, types of sock or bagged decoys. I prefer something with a backbone. Over the last 5 or 6 years, I've spent more time testing decoys with leaving them out in the field, see how they're gonna, how they're gonna last. I've put them up on some private property and left them out. 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, had 5 different manufacturers of decoys out. I left them out for a little over 700 days. Of the 5 decoys brands, I had 2 that were still in surprisingly good shape. I think I'll start with this particular type of decoy here with the plastic necks. They're great for numbers. One of the things I found with this type of back support, it sure lets you pack a lot of decoys. The problem is the elastic in them wears out. They're good for a year, year or two. Some of them work, some of them don't. And this was one of the first decoy designs in my 700 plus day test that the bag actually disintegrated on. It was the first decoy that the bag basically disappeared. But one of the things I found with these decoys is all of these that have the plastic ring inside the neck, when you pack these, unless you're going to spend time with every decoy when you're trying to put them out, they hold a shape once they've been packed. It's a pain in the butt. They don't look right. They don't feel right. I don't like the shape of the bag. In looking at them from the air, when you fly over the real McCoy, looking at snow geese, these just don't cut it. They tend to stay together pretty well as far as the stake system, but I hunt by myself, occasionally with a friend. I'm not a guide, as I said. I do this for my own enjoyment, and I do believe that there is power in numbers. It's great to have those numbers, and the first thing a guy thinks is, I've got to get as many numbers as I can, therefore I want to buy them as cheap as I can. And I'm here to tell you firsthand, you get exactly what you pay for. When you get those numbers out there, and maybe you are just a friend and you're trying to put up 1,000 decoys, you'll spend 4 to 6 hours trying to put these out. And I hunt maybe a total of 30 to 40 days a year. I'm not like a guide that may hunt 4 or 5 months out of the year. And I can't imagine, these decoys need to be pretty tough to handle that kind of use. In all the decoys that I've tried, I've had limited success with the decoys, mainly due to the neck arrangement or the back support. 4 years ago, I run across a design. I just liked the looks of it. I wanted to check it out. always looking for something bigger, better. And that particular design was a bag style decoy manufactured by the Anser Decoy company. One of the first things I noticed about this decoy was the neck, the opening of the bag itself was different. It was, you know, it wasn't that plastic band. You can do whatever you want with these, pack them however you want. They still open right up. I don't know the exact way that they produce these, but it has eliminated 100% the problem of packing decoys and having a neck that once it's been packed, it's a mess. These decoys, you can twist them up, do whatever you want, and you take them out. You know, if you've got any wind at all, 3 to 5 minutes, they're laying straight, they're wide open. Another thing that I noticed about the Anser Decoy was the feather detail. It's phenomenal. It's as close to realistic as anything I've seen. And I also am very fond of the bag shape. When these are full of air, you don't have that tapered rear end that opens back up like a butterfly. They look very true to nature. These decoys the back supports are very well engineered. And I would think for a guy that, you know, anybody out there that's wanting to hunt, wants numbers, if you're tired of decoys, when you pack them, necks don't work, back supports are wearing holes in decoys. The Anser Decoy does cost a little bit more initially, but I can tell when I'm unpacking my decoys. When I've grabbed hold, I have multiple decoys that I'm using, but I can tell the Anser Decoy when I grab it. The quality of Tyvek in this decoy is superior to anything that I've used. And I've used all of the top name decoys. And you're going to hear from everybody that, you know, our decoy is best. Well, I can tell you what, this is the only decoy that I know of that has this neck opening system, and it is by far superior to anything I've used. You pull them out of the bag, you know, a bag they say you can get 275 decoys in. You can truly pack as many of the Anser Decoys as you can shove in a bag and crimp it down. When you go to pull them out, like I said, 3 to 5 minutes. The opening is true. And like I said, the quality is second to none. I just pulled these out of the bags just a couple minutes before starting to record this. They're just open. And they were smashed up and everything else. You know, they're phenomenal decoys. It is a very high quality Tyvek. I'm very pleased with these. They do have the drain holes in the bags. The Anser Decoy comes with the tan stakes, and I believe 24 and 36 inch. If you want those taller decoys around the blinds, you can get the 36 inch stakes. If you want 30 inch stakes, you cut them off. It's a no frills deal. It's an absolute fantastic product that in my limited time that I get to hunt, I have a theory. If I'm going to put decoys out, I want all the pulling power I can get. And if they don't look right, why waste your time? The Anser Decoys, the headed, the side kicks, the Headless Decoys, again, same collar system. Fantastic detail on these. The Tyvek material, again, as I said, is It's phenomenal. But these, they open up immediately when you pull them out. The quality of these decoys is far superior to anything on the market in a bag or sock style decoy. You know, they've got the juvies, their inks. On the testing I did of the 700 plus days, the ink on the Anser Decoy looked almost as good after 700 days under ultraviolet light as it did when they were brand new. 3 of the manufacturers that I had out, there was no bag left. Only the grommets. One decoy manufacturer, the back support was actually, it had degraded to the point it was so brittle from UV penetration, it had broken. Not with the Anser Decoy. That's non-issue. If you're going to spend the time putting decoys out in the field and you want pulling power, you know, again, you get what you pay for. And if true success is what you're after, if you want decoys that you don't have to replace every year or every other year, the choice is pretty simple to me. If I'm going to spend the time, like I said, I don't get paid by anybody. I have a friend or two that hunts with me once in a while. When I get the opportunity to put my decoys out, I'm not there just to enjoy the sunset, sunrise, etc. I want geese. I want to have the most attractive spread I can. And this, again, by far is the best product I've found in a sock or a bag type decoy. I just, again, they're a little bit more money, but you absolutely get what you pay for in these. I'm very happy with them. And the guys that are making their living with decoys, there's no way that there can be anything out there. There's no reason they shouldn't be using the Anser Decoys. They stand up to the punishment. They're very, very easily replaceable. If you need to change a bag or anything, pull it out, change the bag, put it back together. You know, it's that simple. They're very easily packed, and like I said, you can shove as many of them in a bag as you want. And I don't have a lot of room. I don't have an enclosed trailer, so I've got to keep everything, you know, in the bags, back of my truck, whatever. Again, these decoys have been in the bag. It just amazes me every time. You're not going to find a better collar system, a better quality bag, a better quality back support. To me, there's no sense buying anything else. If you want the best decoy out there, in my opinion, this is it. I've tried them all, and you know, I just haven't found anything that will stand up as well as these. Nothing looks as good as these. And I know they have feeder heads. They've got the centuries. I really like their sidekick decoys. They add a little different dimension. They pull slightly left, slightly right. It's a very innovative design. Another thing I like about these, you hear about the tail whiplash in heavy winds. Something I found is that's very common in the flat plastic style collars in the necks. The O-ring assembly, the way they've built these bags, it changes literally the aerodynamics of how this bag reacts in the wind. It doesn't have the death thrash, the tail dance. I know you've all seen it. They're onto something here. It's a superior product, and I hope everybody gets the opportunity to get some of these in their hands, and I think you'll see beyond a doubt there's absolutely nothing that even compares to these.